AnEnglishPodcast, and I'm your host, Jacob English. Today's podcast is titled, Before Time Began. Before I start, I want to apologize for any confusion that this podcast may bring upon my listeners, or any listeners, for that matter, because it's a tough one to talk about. It's really going to drill into your mind if you actually pay attention and think about what I'm talking about. It's going to be hard to fathom, especially for people who don't understand space and time. But here we go. I'm going to start off by saying I don't know too much about time and space, and that I'm no Stephen Hawking, and I cannot even begin to understand the math that goes into his theories. But I've always been interested in time and space, and I want to present this podcast with one simple question I believe will not and cannot be answered by man. If there was a beginning to time, you could say, or the birth of the universe, what was there before such event took place? Many theorists suggest the Big Bang is what started everything. But how can something be deprived from nothing? My mind likes to picture what this thought of time before time could have looked like. I picture a black canvas of nothingness, but it isn't even the black void of nothing, in fact, something. This may lead you to believe that time and space was just always there. But how can something have no beginning, no birth, no origin? I cannot fathom the thought of always there. Let's go back to my black canvas of nothing, and I'll present another question to you. If this void of nothingness were to exist, how the hell did this colorless, shapeless, gasless, materialless realm of black produce anything? Gases, stars, balls of fire, meteors, planets, people. If I were to travel north in my pre-time canvas of nothing, would I keep going north, or would it loop and I end up back at point A? Even that thought is impossible to interpret because the sense of travel cannot be fathomed in this space. Senses themselves cannot exist. Nothing can exist. I do not care about the question how time began. My question is, what existed prior to the idea of time? And somehow, as hard as it is to analyze, everything you see today and more are all deprived from something that consisted of nothing. But what is nothing when looking at this idea? You tell me. All feedback is welcome. Thank you for listening to an English podcast. I'm your host, Jacob English, and until next time. My